to the Sassool cooking class in honor of the Polka Dot Mama. So some of the class participants today actually, they won this cooking class, and I'm going to be doing a few recipes that are combining my Southern roots and my Lebanese roots, and it's going to become some really nice fusion recipes that taste great and you can serve anytime, any day of the week. To start off, since we are celebrating Polka Dot Mama and there was a gala 3 weeks ago, I think it's time for a drink. So we are going to do a pomegranate spritzer. One of my favorite wines at Sassool is the pomegranate wine. It's from Armenia. And I haven't found a pomegranate wine from anywhere else. It seems like Armenia, there's a few different brands, but they really capitalize on this pomegranate semi-sweet wine. So it's really tasty, not as sweet as like a Moscato or a Riesling if you're a white wine person, but it is quite good. And you could have it, with dessert, or you can have it to start the meal. So we're going to make a little simple spritzer. What we do is we're going to start out with some orange slices. And we are all about color contrast today, as any day. We're putting one orange slice in the bottom of the glass. Now, in the recipes you guys got, it said 2. However, I overestimated the size of my glasses today. So really, we're just trying to make it look good because it's going to taste good no matter what. Now, what you do is half and half your favorite sparkling water and the pomegranate wine. So if your glass is 12 ounces, I would say do 5 ounces of one, 5 ounces of the other. And actually, before you put the wine and the sparkling water in there, which you could do champagne as well, I have made these ice cubes of orange juice. Really easy to do. You do them in an ice cube tray and you drop in, you can see the little pomegranate seeds. So that was my little tribute to Polka Dot Mama. I made these polka dot ice cubes. This one shows up a lot better. Okay, so you drop that into your glass as well. Now, add your sparkling water or champagne, if you please. Okay, followed by this delicious semi-sweet pomegranate wine. And this drink looks so festive. However, it's so easy to make that if you really just would like a weeknight drink, it's not too strong, 50-50 sparkling water and wine. It is really tasty. And then what we're going to do is we will garnish with one more orange slice. And what I do is when I'm slicing my oranges, on all of them, I slice them down the center so that any of them could be garnish glasses. It doesn't have to be like a specific. There you go. So this is going to start our evening. And I want to thank everyone for participating tonight. The Polka Dot Mama Foundation is a really excellent foundation founded by an amazing lady named Tracy, and I believe she may be on this cooking class right now. So my hat's off to Tracy. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for raising awareness, raising money for research for melanoma. It's an excellent cause, and I'm happy to be contributing this class to the cause. So I hope you guys grab your drink, and then we will start cooking. Now on the menu today, we have an appetizer of stuffed sweet potatoes. For those of you who frequent Sassool often, it will remind you of the sweet potato salad because I may have deconstructed the ingredients for the salad and made that into a really kind of cute appetizer. So we have the stuffed sweet potatoes. We're also going to be doing my Southern Mediterranean version of shrimp and grits. The grits will be couscous because couscous and grits, they're very similar. Of course, grits are made from corn. Couscous is made from wheat. But as far as cooking and baking, you can use them almost interchangeably. So I have made a recipe that infuses some great Mediterranean flavors like garlic incorporate some kashkaval cheese, which I'll talk about in a little while. And it's just a really great spin on that Southern classic. And also, just to note on your recipes that you have that I sent you, anything in bold, you can find it at the Sassool market. I always try to encourage people to go dive in and look, because we have so many unique items like kashkaval cheese, like the really great extra virgin olive oil, things that you may not be able to find at the grocery store. And I'm here to give you some ideas on how to use them. So just pay attention to those bolded ingredients in your recipes, because that is found at the Sassool market. Although if you can find it at the grocery store and you're already there, of course, get it there. So let's move on to the stuffed sweet potato. Now, what I've done ahead of time, because I don't have 4 hours to do a class, I have pre-baked the sweet potato. So I am going to show you kind of a summary of what I did. Okay, so these are my sweet potato boats. If you can see, they are halved sweet potatoes done long ways. I baked them for about 40 minutes on 350. And then after they come out of the oven, after 40 minutes, the flesh, like all of this really good stuff, it can easily be scooped out. So let me show you on one of them at least. Okay, so I take my sweet potato and I kind of like draw the line that I want to scoop out. I draw it with a spoon, because that just seems to make it so much easier to scoop. And then you literally just scoop it out like that. You're going to collect all of the flesh of the sweet potato. You'll collect it in a mixing bowl, because these are like twice baked sweet potatoes. So you'll collect the flesh of the sweet potato, and then that's going to go into your mix. Now, you could actually make this as like a main entree style dish. Today we're doing it for appetizers using North Carolina sweet potatoes, because I was born and raised in North Carolina. So this is the reason for this recipe. So I have to highlight my North Carolina roots. When I meet people, you know, whether it's applicants at Sassool or people I meet through catering, or, you know, even just friends, I don't meet a lot of people that are from born and raised in Raleigh or North Carolina. A lot of people have kind of come over here either for work or school, etc. So I love finding people that are Raleigheites. And I'm sure all Raleigheites are very familiar with sweet potatoes and the North Carolina farmers market. So we're really trying to showcase some of those really cool parts about Raleigh and North Carolina. Okay, so I still have my oven on 350, because we're going to put these sweet potatoes back into the oven. We have the mix. This is all of the flesh from those 3 sweet potatoes that I had baked. Okay, so in the bowl, we also need some finely chopped celery. And like I said, celery is also in the sweet potato salad at Sassool. So you know that the flavors in this, in the middle of this stuffed sweet potato are going to taste amazing, because it's going to taste a lot like that salad. Okay, and you chop the celery pretty much as small as you can get it. You're doing 2 stalks. Okay, all of this goes into the mixing bowl. Another component in the Sassool sweet potato salad, which is now being turned into an appetizer, is chopped spinach. So you get a cup of spinach, give it a good rough chop. That goes into the bowl as well. Okay. Now we're going to do a cup of chopped green onion. However, save a third of it, because we're going to use it for some garnish. So this is way more than a cup, but I'm going to put 2/3 of a cup into here. Okay, that goes in. And then you are going to crush 1 red bell pepper. So this literally takes 5 seconds in a food processor or a Ninja blender. I took one raw red bell pepper. You chop it into just a few big chunks, pulse it a couple times, it becomes crushed into the sweet potato mix. Okay? Now go the spices. We have paprika. We have a little bit of hot pepper, just a touch. Some cumin and some salt. That goes in here as well. You can't forget your red wine vinegar. It kind of brings a nice acidity to the filling, but it also kind of brings up the flavor like a little, I can't really describe it, a little higher. It's not so thick and rich. It will kind of bring that flavor profile up. So we put a tablespoon, generous tablespoon, of red wine vinegar in there, as well as some olive oil, our friend extra virgin olive oil. Okay, now, of course, you can use a potato masher. You could use a spoon, a big spoon, to crush it. I just go all in with my hands because it's quick and it's fun, and I get to entertain the kid at heart that I that I am. But what I'm doing is really just making this into a mash that's going to fit nicely right into the hollow of those roasted sweet potatoes. Okay. This. And you can when you're stuffing these sweet potatoes, you can use a spoon, but if you've gone full in with your hands like I have, you can actually just ball up a little bit of the filling and put it right into those hollow sweet potatoes. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. We will be garnishing these. If you notice, the only component in our sweet potato salad that we haven't used is raisins. But for the color pop, I have chosen to switch it out for dried cranberries, and we will do that for garnish in just a little bit. We're not mixing it into the mix. Okay, so this, I love the way the color looks against the orange with that green, the light green from the celery, the dark green from the spinach, and there's those green onions, and then you get those red flakes from the crushed red bell pepper. And like I said, this can easily be a main entree, whether you want to mix in a protein or not. I actually would mix in some chickpeas for some plant protein. I think that would taste really nice with these. And then you have a main entree. But since we're in celebration mode, we're going to keep these appetizer and then just keep adding to our menu. I hope some of you guys attended the virtual gala from Polka Dot Mama. It was 2 Sundays ago, I believe, the 7th. Yeah, 7th of March. And it was a virtual gala, but done really excellently with so many different speakers. And Sassool was able to do a snack box with some different cheese, olives, crackers, hummus, baba ganoush. And people enjoyed that while they watched the gala. And it was very cool to put that together. First of all, we love being involved with Polka Dot Mama. We've been involved with the gala for 3 years now. But also my sister and my dad, it was like the trio that was putting all the boxes together. So we set up an assembly line and we did 100 boxes, and it was just so much fun. And I really enjoyed it, but then I also enjoyed seeing people snacking on them as well. So anyway, I hope you guys were some of the people that were able to snack on them. We're gonna put them into the oven for 12 minutes, and then they'll be ready. Easy peasy, and it just requires a little prep ahead of time as far as baking those sweet potatoes. But if you're like me, you can bake them earlier in the day, put them in the fridge, and then when it's game time, then you're ready, and it's so quick. Okay, now, while that is baking for 12 minutes, let's go over to, let's start our couscous. what we need to do first is bring all the liquid to a boil. So the shrimp and grits is, you know, it's not like the couscous salad that we have at Sassool. It's more liquidy, you know, it has that great almost soupy texture. It has, you know, a little cheesiness, a little butteriness. So we're doing the same thing today with couscous. So first thing you're gonna do is bring 2 cups of chicken broth to a boil. I have the chicken broth in the pot. It is not close to a boil yet, but we will increase the temperature. So you put 2 cups of chicken broth, 2 cups of milk. This is another recipe that's really add it all in and let it do its thing. And it's super easy. We have a 4th cup of butter that goes in as well. Okay. And it will all melt as the temperature rises and it comes to a boil. We have a little bit of salt and pepper, black pepper, that goes in. And then to bring out some of the Mediterranean flavor in the couscous, we're doing a tablespoon of everyone's favorite garlic whip. So that goes in there as well. We're gonna stir it around just one time. Get all that garlic paste off. So the good stuff. Okay. Excellent. We will bring that to a boil, let it do its thing. When it's to a boil, then we're gonna add in the couscous, okay? So while that warms up, let's do the roasted vegetables. We're doing roasted root vegetables. And let me tell you a little bit about the roasted root vegetables. Follow me over here. So, chef has to clear the table. Okay. So today, the root vegetables that I'm doing are carrots, parsnips, radishes, beets. Make sure you wear gloves or wash your hands immediately after because those things will stain really bad. And then some Swiss chard. I got all of these vegetables from the North Carolina farmers market. And I love root vegetables because they hold up, you know, they're very sturdy. You can bake them, and when you stab them with the fork, you know, it's not going all the way through, it's not mushing. Root vegetables for me are just easy to work with, and plus they're colorful and they're healthy. So I really love root vegetables. Some things that I did ahead of time so that we could keep the class rolling is I blanched the vegetables, and that is going to be very important because root vegetables are also very hard. They're so firm, and they're generally pretty thick as well. So blanching them will give them a nice first flash cook, and then you rinse them with some cold water or put them into an ice bath to stop the cooking. So the carrots have been blanched for about 4 minutes. They're still super firm, but you can feel that they have been blanched, as well as the parsnips, the beets, and the radish. So let me show you how we're cutting these today. Let me put on a glove before I stain my entire hands. And then it would end up everywhere. And if anyone has any questions during the class, please feel free to submit your question through the chat box. I have the cameraman monitoring the chat, and you guys are welcome to ask as many questions as possible. Okay, so what I'm doing with the carrot, and sorry, it was stained a little bit with the beet. The carrot was not actually pink. We are slicing it long ways. Another really great thing about blanching your vegetables, they're easier to slice. So carrots can really be a pain in the neck as far as chopping them, especially big carrots like this that you find at the farmer's market. But if you blanch them, it takes away a lot of the headache. Okay, so we're putting them like round side down, and that is pretty much with all of the items that we're baking today. Just chopping off the little root. The radishes, we're going to quarter. like this. Blanching your vegetables will take down the color a little bit. So you'll notice that these radishes are not bright fuchsia anymore. They're a nice pink, which they still look great. But if you're wondering why they are not so rich in color, that's what the blanching does. Radishes are actually used in a lot of Lebanese recipes, specifically salads. They grow radishes all over Lebanon, and specifically authentic fattoush always has sliced radish in it. And they eat, Lebanese people, they eat raw radish as well. You know, I don't see a lot of people eating raw radish, but when I went to Lebanon, they ate a lot of raw radish. Ate some hummus, eat a raw radish. Okay. We do curved side down. Again, this is a recipe that you can prep in advance if you're doing a dinner party. It's an excellent one just because of the nature of being able to prep ahead of time. Onto the beets, the crazy color ones. So just slice off the stem on top, and then we're going to quarter these as well. And my cutting board may never be the same, but that's okay. This is a sacrifice I'm willing to take. Okay, just chop off the ends. After I blanch the beets, the peeling on, or like the skin of the beets, it'll come right off. You can either use a peeler, and it's super easy, or you can actually just go like this and kind of push the skin off, and it slides right off the beet, which is great. Okay. We're going to discard all of our little ends. And my gloves, and I better put this wine away, otherwise I will be in trouble. I think I already am. Okay. So we drizzle just a little bit of olive oil. We will add the salt later. So it's just olive oil right now. And then this is going to go into the oven on 400. We have 4 minutes left on the sweet potatoes, so we're going to hold off on baking these until the sweet potatoes are out so that we can have the correct temperature going. Yeah, but I'm going to put these close to the oven. The other component of the roasted vegetables is Swiss chard. So let's see. I have it prepped ahead of time. I blanched this as well to take out a little bit of the bitterness, but you blanch them. And then, so this one is a little bit different because you're actually going to roast it as is, as the big leaves. What I like to do when I make this recipe is after they are done baking, which this takes 5 minutes, that takes 20 minutes. So you do a little bit of timing, but after they're both done baking, you put the Swiss chard on the bottom, and it ends up looking like a beautiful green plate, green platter. Great for the color pop, and also it tastes really good too. After it's roasted, the flavor is like sky high. It's so delicious. So we'll see those in just a little bit, and that only takes 5 minutes to roast. Checking back over with the liquid for the couscous. We're close. The butter has melted. The smell from the garlic whip is really, really nice. It already reminds me of like garlic grits, that smell, you know, that my mom is the one, of course, she's the Southern one. We all know my dad. My dad's Lebanese. But my mom frequently made grits, especially on the weekends. She would make that for breakfast. And she would make it a few different ways. However, eating grits kind of just reminds me of childhood. So I love my Southern roots, and Even though the Lebanese roots kind of upstage the southern roots a little bit, so even though my Lebanese roots upstaged my southern roots, a few times a year we would visit my southern family. So a lot of my family lives in Kinston, also like Snow Hill, North Carolina, and we would have family reunions. And of course, there would be green bean casserole, fried chicken, all the casseroles, sweet potato casserole, everything you can imagine. And all of those flavors really influenced me as far as my cooking today. So I do cook a lot of Mediterranean flavors, but sometimes I'll incorporate a little bit of that southern touch, and it just seems to bring like a nice balance to the end product. So I'm kind of thankful I have the southern influence and the Mediterranean influence, because I think it's just a great balance. Let's see. We have 41 seconds on those sweet potatoes. So we are going to, let's see. Oh yeah, they're ready. Let's pull these guys out, and we're going to up our temperature to 400 so that we can do those roasted vegetables. And they look so good. It smells just like the Sassool sweet potato salad, which is one of my favorites that may have influenced why we're doing this today. Okay, so let's garnish these. We're gonna garnish with green onion and dried cranberry. I always get my dried cranberries from the Sassool market section. Let me grab a plate so you can look at it in a pretty way. Okay. My fingers are literally numb as far as temperature, so this is why I'm grabbing it right out of the pan. I've been working in the kitchen so long, not today, but in general, that I don't know, the heat doesn't really faze me that much. Okay, and we'll do a little bit of plate sprinkles. And then we have our dried cranberries. And yes, this kind of, it gives a little bit of like holiday festivity to it with the cranberries, the sweet potatoes. But hey, if I'm giving you an idea to use for Thanksgiving or anything like that, please do. So that is our stuffed sweet potato. Okay, I'm gonna put it at the plating station, and we're gonna add the couscous to that liquid. Okay, follow me to the stove. As you see, the milk, chicken broth, butter, garlic whip, salt, and black pepper are now brought to a boil. I'm determined I'm not gonna leave garlic whip behind. This is a serious situation. Never leave garlic whip behind. Okay, so we have couscous. There's a couple different kinds of couscous. This is the one that I'm most familiar with. It's the finest grain. You know, it's very small. There's also what they call like Mediterranean couscous, and those are larger grains. They look like little globes. And that's what our pearled couscous is made out of. So we are going to put 1 cup of couscous into the liquid, whisk it around just a little bit, and then we are going to leave it for 12 minutes so that it soaks up all that liquid before we keep going. So I know I brought you back over here, not very eventful, but this is a very key moment. Okay. Okay, our oven is ready for the roasted vegetables. Let's put them in. We got 20 minutes on the clock. I think we can get a lot done in 20 minutes. those go in. They're gonna come out so excellent. And what I'm gonna do so that I can keep the Swiss chard in mind, I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes so that when this goes off, I know the Swiss chard needs to go in for 5 more minutes. Now, what we can do is we are going to cook our sausage. We have sausage and we have shrimp to cook. We're gonna do the sausage first, put it on a plate and let it soak a little bit of the excess grease. And then we're gonna put the shrimp in. So let's start with the sausage. I personally live in Johnston County, very close to Wake County though. It almost is Wake County. Anyway, being from Johnston County now, I have become very familiar with Nahunta. So Nahunta is it's just about 25 minutes at most away from my 25-minute drive away from my house towards Smithfield. But Nahunta is a pork center. And they do so many different kinds of pork. I've never seen the variety that they offer anywhere else. They have excellent sausage. They have large cuts of pork. They have bacon, you know, everything. Now, my favorite version of shrimp and grits has sauteed sausage in it. So that's why we're doing that. And today I got that from Nahunta. Also trying to follow some of my Southern roots. So what we're going to do, and side note, if your couscous starts to boil too much, just lower the heat a little bit. Okay, so sausage goes into the pan. And it really doesn't take long to cook this. But we're just gonna keep in mind, try to, since I've sliced it ahead of time, try to sear one side, and then as you stir, you're gonna kind of flip them just a little bit so that each side gets cooked evenly. I did, I think about 2 months ago, I went to Nahunta and I made a video about how to make pulled pork shawarma. And it came out really excellent. And I know a few people that actually take the cooking class, they ended up watching that video that's on my YouTube. And they made the pulled pork shawarma and they said it was so delicious. So if you guys are familiar with my YouTube channel, if you're not, it's called The Flavorful Life with Simone Lawson. And I have the pulled pork shawarma on there. And please watch it and get creative in the kitchen with it. I think we have a question. What's the question?
Yes. Excuse me. Lisa would like to know if Nahunta is still at the farmer's market.
So I think they are temporarily, last time I checked, they were closed at the farmer's market. I believe it's because of changes with COVID, probably having to downsize the staff and everything. But with things going back to normal, I'm very hopeful that they will reopen. I know it was a temporary close. It wasn't like a complete close. So that's my last update as far as Nahunta at the farmer's market. Okay, and you see that very quickly, the side of the sausage that was on the pan, you know, it's turning a nice seared brown. So easy to do this. Kind of fun to flip these over one by one. It's a little game. Okay. What my husband and I do is we will go maybe once every 3 months to Nahunta, and we'll get several, like we'll kind of stock up. We'll get several different kinds of pork. And then our favorite way to enjoy a lot of our dinners is cook it over the fire. So we have done a lot of pork sausage over the fire. We've done our bacon over the fire. We have a nice fire pit. We actually just nixed our char grill. We were like, we want to just cook over the fire and get that nice flame kiss flavor all the time. So that's really how we cook the most. as far as, you know, cooking dinners together. But I mean, as many of you know, especially if you have grown up in North Carolina, pork is very versatile, and you can cook it so many ways. So I'm glad to be doing it this way today. Okay. Speaking of fire cooking, this is actually the first day that I can mention it. So this is really exciting for me. Sassool will be doing a cooking class in, let's see, May 21st. We have an event now public on Eventbrite. However, it hasn't been announced on social media yet. So you guys get the first wind of it. It's an event that we will be holding in North Raleigh with only 16 people. It'll be super exclusive because we'd like to keep everyone socially distanced and we want to respect that. But we will be doing a nice cocktail hour. We'll be doing a main dinner that it will be also a streamed cooking class. And then we will be doing dessert. And then everyone will also get like a goodie bag with some different treats and some different information that's really cool. So, but the cocktail portion of that event will be all fire cooked. So everything, there's 4 different appetizers. Everything will be over those flames. Everything will taste amazing. And of course, dinner will be cooked right in front of you as well. But I'm kind of really stoked about the cocktail hour because since my favorite way to cook is over a fire, it's so cool that there will be 4 different stations that people can, you know, migrate from each station, try the appetizers right off the flames, enjoy a glass of wine. It will be an outdoor event. Anyway, I want you guys to check it out. It's on Eventbrite. Of course, we will post on our social media probably tomorrow. But it's going to be a great time. And only 16 tickets are available. However, if you want to watch the cooking class, that will go live at 6:30 as well on May 21st. And you can just sign up the same way you sign up for these cooking classes by emailing me. And I'll put you on the list and we will stream it and you will be in on it. Okay, so what we're going to do is take the sausage off the heat. Because it is now cooked. I'm going to grab a plate and sorry. We're going to put a paper towel on the plate so that any excess grease can go onto the paper towel. Okay, so we set this aside and then we actually start our shrimp. Put this here. How much time do we have on? Okay, we still have 7 minutes on the vegetables, so we're good for now. Let's do the shrimp. Now I'm gonna grab the oil. Sorry, put my stuff everywhere. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of oil into the pan. We will start with the garlic because now we are doing the shrimp part of the shrimp and grits. We want to check on the grits. It's thickening up. Ooh, this is getting good. And honestly, I can't even differentiate between grits and couscous right now. This looks exactly like grits. I would challenge you to serve this at a dinner party and people may not even question it. Okay, so it's thick right now. Even though we have about 4 more minutes left on the time that it takes to cook, I'm actually just going to turn it off the heat because I want it to absorb the remaining liquid. It'll absorb if I just put the lid on it. We're going to keep this warm, push it to the back until we're ready. Okay, so with the shrimp, add in some garlic. Love garlic. Okay. And then we're going to add in the shrimp. I'll turn on the pan a little. Okay, now we're good. Okay. So we have our peeled and deveined shrimp. For this dish, I try to get the largest shrimp possible. Although it, you know, as far as flavor goes, it doesn't really matter as far as the size of your shrimp. But I'm a huge fan of those large shrimps. And because I want it to look great as a nice entree and make a great statement, I'm going to get the largest shrimp I can. So these are the 21 shrimp per pound. I think it goes by those numbers. That's the size that I have today. So we have the garlic in there. We have the shrimp, and now I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning. The seasoning today is paprika, a little bit of cumin, and a little bit of allspice. Very nice Mediterranean flavor. See, I mix them ahead of time so that I'm trying to be a little bit efficient. And all of those spices I also got at the Sassool grocery section. Our spices in particular, like I believe that our prices are very competitive. We have a grocery manager that works really hard to get the best prices possible that, you know, translate into great actual retail prices. But the spices in particular are extremely low price and are great value. I think we have another question.
Yes. Do you always use deveined shrimp?
I do. And it's really, it's purely because I don't have enough experience deveining them myself. Also peeling them. My husband's a fisherman, but he fishes freshwater, so we haven't really dove into, there's a pun, dove into the shrimp, you know, and saltwater fish. So I am not too experienced in taking the skin off, deveining them, things like that. So yeah, this is one place in cooking where maybe I lack a little bit, and I'm okay saying that. But yeah, I always get the deveined. I do it the easy route. Give me some other questions. What else do you guys want to know? And we're just stirring it around a little bit, you know, to cook it evenly. But already a lot of these are becoming a nice white pink flavor, or sorry, pink color. And they will be ready momentarily. So I'm just going to put the lid on these. We are going to make the Swiss chard ready because the roasted vegetables are almost ready to come out of the oven. So let's take this over our cutting board. You know, when I moved to my house a couple of years ago, after my husband and I got married, I thought that I had a big enough kitchen, but I'm quickly finding out that I need an island that's about 4 times the size of this one. That's okay. One of my passions is definitely to cook and entertain for people. So I think I need an island that helps me do that. Okay, so we are just laying these out on the pan, and they've been blanched, so they're a little bit, they're still a little bit wet with the water, but that will dry as soon as they get into the oven. Okay, we're just spreading them out like that. I'm going to, since I'm doing a few layers, I'm just going to drizzle with a little olive oil and keep layering. Okay. You can also use collards if you want to be super North Carolina, which maybe I should have done today. But you can use collards. They bake the same way, and they still give that great color. Let's see. Okay. Last little layer of olive oil. I think I have a question. What's the question?
Did you grow that Swiss chard?
No, I didn't. After in my last class, I talked all about my garden. So, news on the garden. we have planted the little pods. Like we first germinated all of the plants that we were going to put in our garden. We did that. They sprouted. And as of 2 days ago, I think, we actually put them in the ground because it's not freezing anymore. We were waiting until it didn't freeze. So that day came. We are finally warming up. And we have our plants planted, and they should start growing really nicely. Okay, we got 5 more minutes left. But yeah, they should start growing. My husband irrigated our garden so that everything is on a timer. There's a pump from our rain barrels, and it all goes automatically into the garden. So it's a really nice setup this year. But no, I did not grow the Swiss chard. I think I will be growing Swiss chard. Yes, another question.
How's the baby?
The baby is so good. He is 5 months now. He has learned to, well, I don't know if he's actually saying mama, but I think he's saying mama. He says mama, but he only says it when he cries. So I don't know if he's actually saying it. But he learned to roll over, and he's growing so big. So we're having a lot of fun at this point with him. But yes, he's great. Thank you for asking. Okay, I believe that the shrimp is ready. We don't want to overcook the shrimp because, as you guys know, the shrimp will become very rubbery. So I'm going to take it off the heat. Okay, the smell is really fantastic. What we're going to do is I'd like to plate this up at the same time as the roasted vegetables. So I'm just going to take this off the heat. It is good. And then after the vegetables come out, we'll plate up the vegetables and the shrimp and grits so I can show you guys how to do that. Now, the last thing that we're doing today is Ashta. And Ashta is a clotted cream that they make in Lebanon, similar to pastry cream. And there is a long way to make it, and there's a short way to make it. If you can guess, we are making it the short way. I have tried both ways, and actually the flavor is not compromised in the short way, which is great news, because sometimes when you take shortcuts, flavor is compromised. No, flavor is great this way, and Ashta is very versatile. So let me put it into the sauce pot, and then I'll talk a little bit more about what you can use Ashta with. Okay. So the way you start out Ashta is kind of the same way you start out those grits. You put all the liquid into a sauce pot. You're going to put half a cup of milk and 1 cup of whipping cream. Now I made some yesterday, so this is a pint container, but it's only half full, so I'm going to pour it all in. Okay. Whipping cream is in. Now we have a teaspoon of sugar. That's all, not more than a teaspoon. This is not a very sweet cream. It is just like pastry cream, where the things that you eat it with tend to be the sweet stuff. Okay, we have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. That goes in. And then 2 tablespoons of flour. What we are going to do is actually just start whisking. You want to whisk pretty immediately so that clumps don't form. And there's not a whole lot of liquid in that sauce pot. So it went in cold, and I did just turn on the stove, but actually it will take no more than 3 minutes, and you continue to whisk. Actually, you get a little forearm workout in, but it will thicken up very quickly. And you just continue to whisk, one, so that the heat is distributed evenly as it starts to warm up, but most importantly, so that clumps don't form. Anyway, Ashta, I feel that it is probably the counterpart would be kind of like cannoli cream. It's definitely like a pastry cream. So in Lebanon, they will fill it. It'll be the filling in kunafa, if anyone is familiar with kunafa. That's the shredded wheat. It's like a layer on top and a layer on bottom of shredded wheat, and then in the middle there's this pastry cream. That's ashta. I've also seen it just enjoyed by itself, and that's kind of how we're doing it today. We're doing it as a nice little fancy parfait today. You could have that cream in a little parfait cup or a small bowl. Drizzle it with honey, top it with some nuts and fruit, and you are in good shape because it is so good. Now let me get this timer. Okay, our vegetables are ready. Let me grab a cloth, grab them out of the oven. Turn that off. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. So our vegetables still pretty firm. They're going to be great as far as like when you stab them with a fork. Like I said in the beginning, root vegetables don't mush very easy. And that is awesome because you have a little bit of flexibility as far as how long you cook them. And by that, I mean, if you overcook them, you get a little bit of leniency as far as, you haven't ruined them. And we all need that leniency, especially with everything going on. When you prepare dinner, you're not on an island. You have a lot of things going on. Probably people calling your name and all sorts of things. So to finish the roasted vegetables, we need to actually mash some garlic. So what I've done is I've roasted some garlic. We're going to get our mortar and pestle out. And okay. And so this is the same method that I believe we showed you in the class that I had my dad in on. But we didn't roast the garlic. And the only difference with that is that you get a little bit different flavor profile because that garlic is roasted. So in goes the garlic, and then you add a little bit of salt. And that's going to allow the juices from the garlic to immediately evacuate that garlic, and it becomes a mash really easily. And we want it to be a mash because this is going to be kind of like a dressing for our vegetables. And actually, to tell you the truth, mashing roasted garlic is so much easier than mashing raw garlic. I feel like I'm messing with jumping beans when I mash the raw garlic, but this, it starts to, make that pulp right away. Awesome. Okay, so let me show you midway. You see, it's kind of like a mash. It almost looks like potatoes. And then I'm going to add in some olive oil. And I'm not going to mash it quite as tough anymore, but I'm going to stir it around so it makes that nice dressing. Kind of like a thick dressing, but it also looks really cool when you plate it up because you can see the chunks of garlic, and instead of just like a drizzle of olive oil, you see that nice garlic. Okay. I'm very happy with this. Let me grab my platter. Let's see, my platter for my vegetables. And you know what? Let's not forget the ashta on the stove. Okay. As you see, it is really starting to thicken up quite nicely. I'm gonna whisk it around a little bit more. I told you it'd be ready in 3 minutes, and then I walk away from it. But yes, this is nearly ready. We're just wanting it to thicken up just a little bit more. See? And what you do with Ashta is you're actually going to let it set in the fridge for an hour at least. So like I said, I made some yesterday so that I could bring some out right now that has already set, but you want to let it set at least an hour. It can go longer than that. It can set for a day. This, great for dinner parties because you can prep ahead of time. Okay, so once you take it off the heat, that's when you're going to add in the orange blossom water, and I also like to add in a little bit of vanilla. It brings in like just like a mix of flavors, and it's really, really good. It's not solely that orange blossom flavor, but has the vanilla also paired with it. So it's about half a teaspoon. We just split 1 teaspoon 50-50. Half a teaspoon of vanilla. Whisk that in. Half a teaspoon of orange blossom water. This stuff, just a touch, will do wonders because it's very strong. See? Orange blossom extract. Okay, stir it up. We're gonna have it cool, and then we'll put it into a bowl. Put it into a bowl, and the very important thing is that you cover it with plastic, but you make the plastic actually touch the Ashta, so that there's like a film that doesn't form on top of the cream. Having the plastic there will prevent it from having that film. So I'll show you what I mean when I take the other batch out of the oven. 1 piece of the grits, the couscous, that I did not do yet, that I want to do before we plate it up, which is still hot, so it's still excellent time to do it. Instead of mixing in cheddar cheese or something, you know, like a more mainstream American type cheese in our shrimp and grits, we're doing kashkaval. So kashkaval is an Egyptian cheese. It's a little bit pungent as far as the smell. It's a harder cheese, and I would compare it to like a white cheddar. That is going to go in, and we're going to have that melt in our grits, our couscous grits. But just stir that around a little bit. The grits are still very warm, and it is going to melt. It'll be such a nice flavor. So this is like cheesy grits, but it's cheesy kashkaval couscous. It's really good. Okay, so let's plate up the vegetables, and we'll plate up the shrimp and grits, and then we will plate up the Ashta. Okay. I'm gonna put a glove on for this. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, we are going to put the Swiss chard first. And okay, I'm gonna lay it out like that. There's a lot of it, so you don't have to be super careful about how, you know, the rhyme and reason that you lay it out. This, and I always do the stems just going one way. I don't really know why, but guess it's just a thing I do. I don't know, I like the way it looks. Okay, like that, like this, and like that. Okay, now for the vegetables. So you can mix them all together, or you can group them. Funny enough, for like at Sassool, of course, our roasted vegetables are mixed. However, if you get a catering from us and you order roasted vegetables, we actually separate them. And that's for visual purposes. So we're going to do that catering style today. We're going to group the different colors. And the green on the bottom against the pink, the white, the orange. It looks so appetizing. The purple. Love it. Okay. We are going to take our garlic, kind of organically scatter it around. This roasted garlic. Okay, final steps. Salt and pepper, and then a little bit of roasted pepitas, which are they're sunflower seeds. So let me grab that. Okay, so a little bit of salt and black pepper, which I have pre-portioned. Okay, and then the pepitas, which I just remembered they are not sunflower seeds, they are pumpkin seeds. But regardless, they are so delicious, and I love to snack on pepitas, but I also just add them, you know, as garnish on top of certain things because they look great and they add like a really great healthy crunch. So this is our roasted vegetables. Okay, very good. Now we are going to plate up the shrimp and grits. I will bring them over to you guys. This. Okay, so we're gonna kind of layer the shrimp and grits. And let me grab our garnish too before I get too far with this. The garnish, of course, is chopped parsley. Because I am a daughter of Sassool. Okay. So we add our grits. Oh man, they look so good. And I want anyone in this class to tell me if they don't think this looks like grits. This is straight up grits. And you can smell the garlic. You can also smell that Kashkaval cheese. All of which are going to add such nice touches to this dish. Okay. Now, excuse me. Now for the shrimp. That. I love any chance I get to kind of blend Mediterranean flavors and Southern flavors, because like I said in the beginning, they marry so nicely. And this is no exception. Truly, truly delicious. Okay, and now for our sausage. We'll do this on the outside of the shrimp. I made a lot of sausage, so I'm probably not going to put all of that on there on the platter. Okay. Like this. Then, beautiful. There we go. There's our shrimp and grits. Okay. Now, to finish out the little Ashta parfaits. Does anyone have any questions up until this point? Because we are closing in on the end of this menu. Let me grab the Ashta from the fridge.
Lisa says you could do all that sausage on there. You could fit all that sausage.
I feel the same way. Believe me, I could fit it on that plate. I'm gonna take pictures afterwards, and I want it to look, you know, somewhat dainty. So we're that's funny. This time we will just keep that sausage for later. Okay. So this is the Ashta that I did yesterday. You see how the plastic wrap is right against the cream. Now I take it off, and literally looks exactly like pastry cream.
Sarah says everything looks amazing, by the way.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Before I scoop it into my little cups, I'm just going to loosen it up just a little bit because it is a pretty thick cream. It also makes it visually look really nice too, if you stir it around a little bit. So stir it around. Okay, and I have these little mason jar cups. We're gonna put some of the Ashta in, layer with apricots, dried apricots from the Sassool market section. I think we have a question. What's the question?
No.
Oh, no. False alarm. Okay. The apricots, then some sour cherries, another layer. And I like doing things in small mason jars too, because you can put a lid on it, store it, and then, you know, bring it out when you want to. You don't have to eat them right away. And they're already kind of like in their little own cup. Okay. Few more. Like this. And then some crushed pistachios. Right on top. And then I take some orange blossom honey and drizzle that. Yum. Really, really good. I'm going to show you one more. Okay, so in goes the Ashta. Now the apricots, and you can use fresh fruit if you want. You can use different dried fruit if you're not a fan of apricots and sour cherries. These are just the ones that I cook with the most, and also they're available in the Sassool market section, so that's a plus for me. But yeah, of course, you can use peaches. Peaches would taste great. Okay. Last one on top. Finish it with the nuts. And then the honey. The honey kind of drizzles all down there, down to the bottom. So there you go.
How long will the Ashta stay in the fridge?
So you can keep the Ashta up until a week in the fridge. You can freeze it too. This is one that you can freeze. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any questions? You've been a great audience. Great questions today. We're good? Well, if you guys have any questions with recipes, please feel free to email me, simone@sassool.com. This will be up on the YouTube tomorrow. I will also email you a link as well, so you can rewatch this if you want to go through the process again. I appreciate you guys logging on and being part of this class today. Thank you to Tracy, Polka Dot Mama, for having me as a component of the gala raffle. As always, I truly love being a part of the cause, and I hope you guys enjoy and you get in the kitchen and you start making some of this stuff. So have a great night.